This is Jeff Mucci with RCR Wireless News on day 2 of TC3 with James Garner from BT, formerly known as British Telecom.
That's
James,
right,
thanks for joining us.
Thanks, good to be here, thank you.
So you're 2 months in the Valley. Talk about your role and what you're looking to accomplish.
Yeah, that's right. So I've recently joined our external innovation team. So we have a scouting function out here in Silicon Valley. There's 4 of us here. I arrived about 2 months ago, so I'm still finding my feet largely. But really, our role out here is to identify new technology, disruptive business models, really identify what's new and exciting out here, and then kind of downstream it to the UK and see what's appropriate for us to either monetize or really to benefit our customers largely as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, yesterday we heard many of the carriers talk about, they had 2 minutes and 2 slides to talk about their strategy for sourcing, and many of the firms had these investment funds. How does BT approach innovation? Is it through investments? Is it through partnerships?
It's largely through partnerships, actually. So really what we'll do is look for companies who are up and coming, have got a great idea, companies that we think will benefit us at home, and then we really look to collaborate with those guys and work with them more closely back in the UK.
Okay. Well, let's look back over time. What are some of the 2 or 3 big successes that BT has taken from the US back to the home country?
Yeah, so I think largely we look at things like some of our apps, for example. We take a lot of inspiration from the way that innovation out here has worked. There's a lot of enterprise improvements that we've made as well. But an example of a product that I worked on there was Ribbit Labs, based out of this part of the world. Mm-hmm. And we actually launched the UK's first voice over IP from a telco called BT Smart Talk, which our customers loved. So I was actually lucky enough to launch that product. So it's kind of, from my perspective, I was able to see the benefit that the team out here could provide in finding a company like that, develop the product and the proposition, and then launch it to our customer base at home.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to talk about wireless and mobile, because RCR Wireless News, we like to talk about wireless and mobile.
Yes.
BT was not in the mobile game, but over the last couple of years had a very large Wi-Fi deployment.
Yes.
What's going on with your Wi-Fi? How are people using Wi-Fi, and what are some of the things that are the innovation that you're seeing coming out of your Wi-Fi offering today?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of a value-add service, BT Wi-Fi network is a huge benefit to our customers. Yep. It's freely available to BT broadband customers, so it's as a value-add service, it's got huge benefit to them. We've gone back into mobile, so we launched BT Mobile very recently, and again, what we do is provide free access to that Wi-Fi network, so customers have got the ability to flip across to it as and when they need to. And in fact, the BT Smart Talk app that I was referring to before,
the Wi-Fi voice over,
exactly. Okay. You can connect to any BT Wi-Fi hotspot to make those calls when you're out and about. So again, that's very complementary to that service.
So how is Wi-Fi, and then how will the acquisition of EE, which will provide you the largest LTE footprint in the UK, how will that influence your sourcing strategy here in the US?
It's interesting. I mean, we've obviously had very preliminary discussions, I guess, with the guys from EE. So I think they've got a very strong presence out here. So a lot of that stuff is still to be worked out. I think moving forward, from purely a customer experience point of view, I think it'll be interesting as and where the line between LTE coverage and home Wi-Fi or broadband coverage, where that line blurs, perhaps. So I think those are probably some of the challenges that we'll need to think through.
Well, if you look at some of the trends here in the US, coupled with the Wi-Fi Alliance and the Passport 2.0 and the interoperability that's occurring between Wi-Fi and cellular, I think it's simply a coverage and capacity, seamless integration. So with AT&T, they bought Wayport years ago, and everyone thought, why in the world would they buy Wayport, which was the largest Wi-Fi provider at the time? That asset, Wayport, became a very strategic asset in terms of the ability to offload traffic to Wi-Fi and free up capacity on the cellular network. So, I think, having been to London a few times, you look at the unique characteristics of London. It's an old city. Right. You've got a lot of concrete. So I remember talking to one of your co-partners, Rob, years ago about Wi-Fi and cellular, and the fact of the matter is, in building in London is incredibly difficult to get a good signal.
That's right, yeah, it really is. It's a concrete jungle, as they say.
Yep. Yeah. So another big trend in the market today is content. Verizon has made a big statement by buying AOL. Right. Initially, they were going to spin off some of the Huffington Post, Engadget, that sort of thing. They thought, gee, this is a pretty interesting community. We're actually going to keep this. Right. The ad serving platform they got, they just announced selling $50 million of ad revenue, which I thought was interesting. Kind of, what's your view of content?
I mean, the big content play for us, obviously, the last few years has been BT Sport. So
Yep.
we moved into the sports rights acquisition, and it's been very, very successful for us. So I think really the company objective there was to bring sport to people at a slightly lower price point than some of the incumbents, and I think we've done that. It's a very fresh approach to it. So again, it's about making it more accessible and giving customers a choice, really. You know, we've signed some recent partnerships with companies like AMC for TV deals.
Mm-hmm.
So I think content is going to be fundamental moving forward to us as well, and our play in what will be a quad space.
Well, I want to talk and get more detail about the BT Sports, because here in the U.S., you know, with HBO and
Yes.
Other decoupling or debundling of or unbundling of content deals, what do you guys do in the UK? You said you signed some exclusive deals for content. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, so I mean, we have the Premier League sports rights, which are kind of the crown jewels.
So exclusive broadcast rights?
For certain proportions of it. So,
Okay.
so you have an auction. Colleagues or kind of contemporaries at Sky Sports, I should say, acquired the majority of those rights. We've acquired a proportion of them that we're pretty happy with.
Mm-hmm.
And really, we then air those over BT TV, or you're able to subscribe directly through us if you're a Sky Sports customer as well.
Mm-hmm.
We wholesale them to other contemporaries of ours as well.
Now, if I'm a subscriber at home, can I also watch that on my mobile device over Wi-Fi?
Absolutely.
Or what are some of the challenges,
You can,
digital
yeah.
rights challenges with
That's
that
right.
offering?
So we have the rights. You can watch over the BT Sport app, and again, it's a great platform for us to provide innovative thinking and to do different things, provide second screen opportunities.
Okay.
And I think that's probably the way that people get accustomed to consuming things like that. You have to be in that space to be relevant.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think the BT Sport content development was a huge positive development for us.
Got it. So this is your first TC3. What are your initial impressions of TC3?
It's been fantastic for me. I mean, it's been very educational. So I think probably the big three benefits I've got out of it: opportunity to see a load of different startups. So that's still very very interesting to me. Is understanding how the Valley operates. Probably the second thing is being able to talk to our contemporaries. So there's
Mm-hmm.
companies like Orange here. We have very meaningful discussions about the way they run their operation out here and their innovation models. And then I think just a kind of an opportunity to see some of the key trends and themes that are on the discussion stages. So I was lucky enough to talk at the customer experience one earlier, something that's very meaningful to me. So that was quite nice to get the perspectives across the other providers and the other contributors.
Good. Well, James, thanks for joining us today.
No worries. Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Thank you.